So we'll close that one down there. So we can go in and add students individually. We can also add students in bulk. Now the way we do that, because maybe I needed the whole of Year 7 in here, because as a Year 7 maths teacher I might teach different groups at different times of the week. So I'm going to actually pull the whole of Year 7 in as a group. I don't want to be typing them all in individually, obviously that's going to take me too long. But I'm going to be able to get what we call a CSV file or an Excel file from my school management system. And I just need to go to Administrator and ask them to give me that as a file. And I go to Import Export, and I go to Import, and you can see I've got an option here to import a CSV or Excel file. So I select whichever it is, CSV or Excel. So if I go to CSV, and then I need to tell it where that CSV file is kept. So if I go into here, and if I go to Pupil CSV Files and go to an example there and open that up, and then I just need to tell the system what data I've got in that file. So the first column of data, for instance, might be the student number. So that is going to be field number 1, and I add that in. And then you see the system's clever because it knows the next field is going to be field number 2. All I've got to do is tell it what that field of information is. That's the first name, so I'm going to add that in. And then third field, surname, add that in. And the next field is going to be the handset ID. I can add as much information in as I wish. I just carry on selecting the fields and putting them in the same order as they are in the Excel or the CSV spreadsheet. And then I simply go import. And then that pulls all that data into the master list in bulk, and there are all my students ready to go. So all I've got to do now to pull that into my particular class, so if I go back to that class that we had selected and drop down Year 7 and Vicky, and we're going to now add a student. Here is my master list again, showing here, and what I would now do is select the students from my master list. So if these were the students that I'm now going to put into my class, and I click OK, those students will now be transferred from the master list into your Year 7 maths class.
So again, it's a very easy stream of commands to follow.
Yes.
And when you actually get the system initially, is there some sort of schedule for you to follow so that you can work with it?
Yes, when it's supplied, you get your content that's already in there, the primary and the secondary content with a range of subjects, and you also get 2 ready-made classes, one of a class of 16 and one a class of 32. So what you could do, if you're in a primary school, for instance, and you only have one class to teach, as opposed to a secondary, we might have several classes as a teacher, I could simply go in and change what would be labelled up as student 1, double click on there and change the name and make that a real child in my class. So,
and do it manually.
And do it manually, so I just edit the information that's already there rather than trying to import something completely new. So that's another way that you can actually get the classes in and get yourself up and running very quickly.
Do I have to stick with this layout, this format?
No, you can. You've got the possibility, if I go into the settings button here, to be able to alter the theme. So you see I've got 6 different themes at the moment. I've chosen the blue theme. If I prefer to have a black theme, I simply choose black, and then you can see all the look of it, and the borders and everything have now changed, so I can personalise it in that way. And the other way I can personalise it is if I go down to the button here, I can configure the buttons that I'm displaying on the left hand side at the bottom here. So I can either show more buttons, show fewer buttons, or add or remove the buttons here according to my preferences, depend on what I want. So I can configure the whole thing to my own personal preferences.